your day?
That's not bad thing. Okay. Um, my questions mostly involve the election and voting, and so I wanted to ask you, why should people early vote, and how does early voting affect the election?
Well, I think that when you think about the expanded early voting, voting by mail, and what the convenience that does and security, especially for our older adults and folks who may not want to go out there, stand in line, folks still are going to have some COVID concerns. I know for me, early voting and voting by mail is literally the only way that I do it because it's so convenient. It allows the opportunity to cast your vote, something that people have fought and died for the right for you to have that, and to do that in a fashion where you can do it in the most convenient way just makes people's lives, especially people who are working, who might be working one or two jobs, who might have children that are involved in after-school activities or sports and need to be able to cast their right to vote because it's something they believe in as an American, as a Baltimorean, as a Marylander, but to do that in a way that doesn't overcomplicate their life.
And one of the ballot questions is about term limits. What are your feelings on the possible establishment of term limits in the city?
Yeah, I think that, I am a supporter of term limits, period. I voted on term limits twice in the city. I believe that the ballot measure that's on now is one that's very dangerous. It's not constructed in a way that I believe our term limits should be when you think about the ability for people in leadership to have experience. But I believe personally that the previous term limits bill that I voted for that was killed, actually that was put in by Councilman Scheifler, that would have it be 3 terms per office would be the better way. But as someone who has been here for some time and have seen the opposite of how people can stay too long, I absolutely support term limits.
I have a question also about the upcoming ballot question. I believe it's question J, would establish the Office of Accounts Payable under Comptroller
Yep.
Henry. Can you tell me about how that came to be and why I assume you think it would lead to better procurement?
The comptroller standing in the back. This is why this is so funny. So the comptroller and I, throughout the transition period, we talked, and even after we got here, about how to modernize city government and how to have things be more balanced, right? And I know it sounds crazy for a mayor to say that in order for the city to be better, the mayor had to give up some power to have more balance in city government, and this is what this is about. And when you talk about the financial responsibilities that the comptroller had, he and I, the city administration, his team, my chief of staff, his chief of staff had these discussions, and we thought that this is something that we agree can go to the comptroller's office for the betterment of the city, the future of the city, and the president of the city.
I'm curious about why you view it as giving up power versus just moving a clerical task.
It's a both. It's a both and, right? I think that, many people that have held this position would absolutely positively have told the comptroller get out of their office, and not in those words when we first had the discussion. But for me, this is about me having this job, Emily, has never been about having this almighty power of being the most powerful mayor in the country. It's really about how do I work every day to make my city that I love, that provided so much opportunity for me and my family, better. And one thing that we all can agree is that city of Baltimore's government has been outdated, needs to be updated, hasn't been operating in the best way for a long time. And this is another effort of that government reform that we're doing because it's the right thing.
Just in recent this, do you have any information you can provide us on the homicide yesterday at the Washington MTA yard?
Yeah, no, I'll just say that it's a unspeakable tragedy, and BPD is currently working out leads, and we hope to be able to bring this person to justice for the family, for the community, for everyone that works at that facility. And as we have further updates, we will definitely provide them to you.
Update on Back River, what you guys are talking about in there, where it stands, what you'd like to see for the future now?
Well, I think you heard in the public Board of Public Works, the Board of Estimates today, that Back River and Patapsco are both operating at permit for the first time in years. And what you saw today, what we approved today, is a furtherance of the agreement with the folks of our consent decree and with the folks at the state level to continue that great work. We're going to continue to make sure that all that progress that we made today, have made to today through Director Mitchell and his leadership continues, that we're making those investments in the future. You heard about the Headworks projects that stopped all these tons and tons and tons of sewage from getting into our waterway and into our bay. That kind of investment is the stuff that we're going to continue to do. But this is a big announcement and a big thing for us to be at this point, to be at permit on both of those.
Mayor Scott, after the E. coli situation happened that Friday, you told me that you didn't think that the communication was bungled. There was no bungling of the communications, is what you told me. We reviewed several emails between you, your staff, DPW, and MDE, and that's clearly not the case. Do you still stand by that statement?
I think, Mackenzie, you may think it's not the case, but overall, what matters is what the Department of MDE has said. And they said that we follow their protocols to a T. As I told you before, there are improvements. You saw the improvements that we committed to publicly at the City Council hearing about doing things that no one else does, about showing the results of these tests consistently. There's no other jurisdiction that does that. We are going to continue to improve every single day. There's nobody that's perfect. No one's going to be perfect, but I'm going to push them to be perfect every day.
MDE did not say that you guys followed it by T. They told DPW multiple times on Sunday to issue the BW way, and it didn't happen.
No, I think that what you're saying is you're accusing DPW of ignoring what MDE said.
They did, according to the emails.
Have you heard publicly from MDE, right? They stood with us. They were there with us the entire time and said, supported, talking to the Lieutenant Governor, that the City of Baltimore follow and work with them through the protocols. And that's what we're going to continue to say to you, because that's what they have said to us. Anybody else? Oh, well, she hasn't answered one yet, yes.
Would you mind talking about security measures taken around the new Lexington Market and what's being done?
Well, I don't talk about deployment, but I will say that, as always, there is a robust deployment from BPD and around the areas around Lexington Market, because we know it has been historically a place where we have needed that. Those of you who have been around for a while may remember some of the high-profile incidents that have happened there, police-involved shootings, all of these kind of things, and they're going to continue to do that work. I know that recently they have made like 7 gun arrests in the area around Lexington Market, but I won't go into detail, but just for the folks to know that we're going to continue to push anybody who's doing illegal activity to be uncomfortable there and hold them accountable, handing them over to the other parts of the justice system. Sorry, sir.
Residents in Edmondson Village are experiencing some illegal dumping at the ball fields near Lincoln Park. They told us this morning that illegal dumping has doubled in size since last week, and they've been trying to work with the city on, I guess, something to do. Do you have any updates or comment on?
Just that, very simple, that we'll have DPW and housing go out there, housing will go out through the trash to see who's dumping it there. DPW will clean it up, and we'll work with the community to make sure that as much as possible we can prevent people from doing something that we know that they do, unfortunately, and that's dump in our city. Last question, Mackenzie?
Yesterday, Squeegee Kid on the corner of Mount Royal and North Avenue, we were talking to them. We spent a lot of time out there talking to them. One of them told me that if Ivan Bates is successful in his plan to not allow them to stay on the corners, that he thinks crime will go up because these kids will rob to get money, they'll commit more crimes. Do you think that that is problematic, and how long before there will be some sort of solution to this problem?
I think, Mackenzie, that the way that you're asking that question is so divisive and so targeted. And when you think about that, and you're thinking about, we're talking about poverty, right? And one, again, there is no division between me and our new incoming state's attorney. And what we're going to do with this collaborative that his folks are a part of is develop a strategy to deal with this issue altogether. We're talking about poverty. Anybody that knows that folks who are experiencing poverty are folks who are going to commit crimes. It doesn't matter if they're homeless, if they're squeegeeing, if they're breaking in houses, stealing cars. This is what we're talking about here. So as much as people want to make this issue solely about squeegeeing, we are talking about poverty. And what we should be really, the questions that we really should be being asked is, how is it that in the wealthiest country in the history of the world, not just in Baltimore, in New York, in Atlanta, in all these other places, you see homeless people, you see squeegee boys here, you see squeegee men in New York, you see water boys in Atlanta, that people are not provided with the economics that they need to be able to not do those things. That's what we're trying to start to work on in this group. No, we did not create the environment that exists that created this, but it's our job now to work together to start to solve it. We don't want anybody committing crimes. We don't care if they're squeegeeing, if they're homeless, if someone who gets mad at their girlfriend or boyfriend. We're talking about trying to solve an issue that really is based around people's financial and family situations.
Will that be addressed in the recommendations?
We know that everything, as I said to you before, will be addressed in the recommendations, from enforcement to providing solutions, but this is what we're talking about, both a short, intermediate, and long-term problem. Thank you very much.